welcome to Country Life on the Coast. In this episode, we're going to do some maintenance on my air compressor. So this air compressor I've had for over 20 years, I reckon. And when I first got it, I used it quite a lot. And over the last probably 10 years, it's had very minimal use. But an air compressor is one of those tools that when you go to use it, you want it to work. And so just doing a little bit of maintenance on it every now and again, very beneficial, and that way it's going to work. So I'll show you what we're going to do, take you through how easy it is to do it, and if you're like me and haven't done it for a while, maybe this video will sort of prompt you to do a bit of maintenance on yours as well. We'll give it an oil change, we'll change the air filters, and the very first thing though is we need to just drain the tank. We might even try and clean it up a little bit as well, because it's spent a couple of years very close to the coast. Even though it was indoors, it got a bit of surface rust on it as well. So we'll try and clean it up, bring it back to looking good, as well as doing all the maintenance. So let's get started. Most compressors consist of an electric motor that drives a belt. In this case, I believe there's other systems, but most of the ones I'm aware of have a belt driven twin cylinder, or in this case some are single cylinder. Compress the air into your holding tank. Water can accumulate in the tank, and so you need to drain that out. Before we drain any of this, we need to get all the air out of the tank. So that's simply a case of hooking up the hose line and just run it till there's no air left in there. There's now no air left in the tank. When I pull the trigger, no air is coming out. And we have a look at the gauge on the end there, that's showing 0 as well. Now we're right to drain the tank. I'll just show you at the bottom here what we're going to do. So right at the very front is this little valve that should drain out any water that's in there. So we'll just undo this. Alright, we might get a little bit of wire to stick up in there. Nothing's coming out, and I thought we would get something. So there was some rusty water in there. Alright, it seems to have stopped dripping. So I'll put the screw that back in. And check out that. All of that was in the tank. So this is why you should drain your tank quite frequently. I can't actually remember what the specs say, but if you're using a compressor quite a lot, every day you should do that. And that way you won't have anywhere near that amount of water sitting in there, rusting from the inside out. So anyway, we will now get rid of that. Now we have all that disgusting water drained out of the tank. The next thing we'll do is change the oil. And before we do that, we'll just run the motor for a few minutes first. So I'll plug him in, turn it on, let it run for a few minutes to warm the oil up, and that way it will drain easier as well. Okay, so we've run the compressor for a couple of minutes now. So we'll drain the oil. Just this drain plug here. It looks like it's a 9/16. So we'll undo that, drain the oil, however you can make it work, but I'm going to use a funnel and drain into a bucket. It should work. It shouldn't take long to drain because there won't be too much oil in it. Not quite sure how much oil it actually holds, but it won't be vast amounts, so we'll do this. oil's drained, so we'll nip the plug up. One thing I forgot to mention before, and while it was draining I noticed and realised, was to undo the filler cap. Just helps it air and helps the oil drain out easier as well. So yeah, don't forget to do that. We'll do this up. Alright, there we go. That's nice and clean. Okay, so we will fill it up with oil. So I bought some oil the other day for it, proper compressor oil, so make sure you get the correct grade oil for it. I was wondering how I was going to pour this in without making a big mess, but the company's already worked that out by giving us a pouring spout on the bottle. Now if I can do it without spilling it all, that'll be good. So I'm just going to give that a minute for the oil to come through, and I can see in the sight glass there is some showing. Just want to make sure we're not overfilling it or underfilling it, so we'll give that a moment. And while that's doing it anyway, what we can do is change these air filters. So twin cylinder, one on each cylinder. A wing nut on it. Quite dusty in there as well. So this is the air filter, the element itself, which I might take the whole thing off. It just unscrews and then the element itself just comes out. So we'll throw that one away. I've got two new ones, one for each one side to go in. So the element just slides over. Just like that. This back together to the other one. And just looking in this sight glass, I can see the oil quite clearly actually, so I'm going to say that's enough oil for that, so I'll put this cap on here before I lose it. Again, I'm just going to clean these up while we've got them out. Put the new filter in, and screw him back in. Alright, there we have it. The final thing we're going to do is just check the tension on the belt And to do that, we need to remove this cover, and that's just done by removing the 2 bolts that are down the bottom here. So we'll just remove that. That just slides off. So all we do to check is just see how far we can push this in. And you can see I can't push that in very far, so that tension is going to be fine for this one. If you do it and there's an awful lot of movement on that, the motor, in this case anyway, is bolted down. And so you can just unbolt it and just push the motor a bit further that way, and that will tension it up. I'm happy with this. The tension feels pretty good. It's certainly not too loose, that's for sure, and there's a little bit of give there, so that will be fine. So we'll put the cover back on and we're done. And that's it. That's all that's required. So hopefully this has shown you how easy it is and maybe prompted you to do some maintenance on yours. You know, we buy these equipment really as an investment. We want them to work every time when we go to use it. So a little bit of maintenance should last for years to come. Well, that's all we've got time for in this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll catch you next time. God bless.